What's up, everybody, and welcome to the TNR Sports Show. The TNR Sports Show. My name's Trennon. That's Ryan. Say what's up, Ryan. Sorry, I caught him in a bad spot.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey, listen, everybody. This is the deal. Last night, Saturday night, you'll be listening to this on Monday. Last night was a big win for the South Carolina Gamecocks of Columbia, South Carolina. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Ryan, any thoughts?
It was a huge win, weird win, very unexpected. Me and Trenton both predicted that Florida was going to win.
Yeah.
But we'll get into more details on that
Yeah,
a little bit. But
I'm wearing my South Carolina gear. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, it's just a crazy win. I mean, it's not expected.
Yeah, so I'm wearing my South Carolina gear. I'm wearing it because I'm here sitting representing the great university. Oh my goodness, of South Carolina. We're off to a hot start this episode. This episode's off to a hot start. Regardless of that, we got a lot of stuff coming to you this week. We got a bunch of fun and exciting college football news for you. So stick around for that. Make sure you like, subscribe, do that whole shebang, and we'll be start doing some stuff.
Yeah, man.
Doing some stuff, talking some football today.
Doing some stuff.
Also, man, my throat. I can't get a break. Our last episode, I said that we were going to move to a kind of a centralized team thing. I decided I'm against it. So we're going back to what we were doing before. And the cut up. So what I'll do is we'll have the big video covering a bunch of teams, but the cut up videos that you'll start seeing more of are just going to be of our team. So it's going to be South Carolina, Clemson, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. And that's kind of how we're going to go with it. So unless we have a cool segment. So there you go. All right. Power rankings. Oh my goodness. Ryan, take over for a second. I can clear my throat real fast.
Okay.
You read the power rankings, they're the same as they were.
All right, the state of South Carolina.
Well, Oklahoma's not one of them.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, you can put South Carolina at 2 and Coastal at 3.
You think South Carolina's better than Coastal?
After that win last night, I do.
Okay. So Clemson's number 1, South Carolina's number 2, and then Coastal Carolina has fallen to number 3. How the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, they once ruled South Carolina. Sad.
They were the champions. Now, well, not champions, but they were number 1.
Right.
And then then we got on our teams, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Clemson, South Carolina. Goes as follows. Number 1 is Oklahoma, one of the best teams in college football at the moment. Arkansas Razorbacks just got a nice win against Mississippi State, which we'll talk about. Clemson, which got a nice win over Louisville, and then South Carolina, which still runs at 4th, but that could change. That could change.
Yeah, they're in the our team player and play a power ranking. It's tough because the teams ahead of you are pretty good. So pick it as you get it.
It's
not like you're like ranked with Vanderbilt,
Exactly.
Fun fact for you. Wake Forest, we'll get to Wake Forest, but Wake Forest, I'm going to remember this fact now and I'll forget it now, so I have to say it now. Wake Forest was ranked 9th, Ryan. As of that ranking, they were now every team in the Power 5 has been ranked in the top 10 at least once in their, existence and Power 5-ness.
Oh, Wake Forest had never been there before?
Yeah, exactly. Now that's every hilarious. Team has. Wake Forest hasn't. Do you know how long it's been since one of the teams hasn't been ranked in the top 10 that's in the Power 5 now? So how long do you think it's been? So
talking about Vanderbilt?
Yeah, it's Vanderbilt. How long do you think it's been?
Man, I'd say it's maybe since the 50s?
1947.
47.
Wow. And the end of World War II. Vanderbilt was last ranked in the top 10. Fun fact for you.
That's insane. That's sad.
Yeah. Well, talk about a sad existence. There are people that were born and died and never saw Vanderbilt be anything in football. How do you have almost 100 years of failure? At least 80, That's just so sad. All right.
They're basketball school.
They're a baseball school. They're pretty good in baseball. All right.
Decent basketball.
Week 10. Here we go. Are you ready, Ryan?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Auburn at Texas A&M. It was a beatdown from the start. I was having a discussion with one of my buddies yesterday. I had kind of a busy day yesterday. I did some bowling, Ryan, some bowling, but I digress. We did some bowling, and my friend and I were talking about Bo Nix, the quarterback of those Auburn Tigers, and you got Bad Bo yesterday. Bad Bo. I mean, Auburn had every opportunity to win that football game yesterday. You know, Zach Calzada got hurt. Texas A&M's offense was okay at best, and they just couldn't get the job done. Bad Bo. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, Texas A&M, their offense really wasn't hitting stride either. They really only kind of pulled away because Bo Nix fumbled the ball, and they turned that into a touchdown. They ran it all the way back. So Texas A&M was not winning the game necessarily on offense, but Bo Nix just did not show up. It looked like he was trying too hard, and he just couldn't get his mojo going. If Auburn's going to keep going, they got to make sure Bo's in shape, because I think South Carolina could beat them if Bo's not playing well.
Oh man, we've really got it going now, don't we? We've gotten off the rails at this point. Oh my God!
If Bad Bo shows up, you never know what's going to happen.
If South Carolina beats Auburn, it's going to be a bad situation for me, because then Arkansas lost to Auburn. Ugh, that'd be awful. God, Auburn, please do one thing right in your life. Where's that game at? It's got to be in Auburn, right?
I don't remember. I'll have to look it up. I don't remember, actually.
Yeah, but anyway, Zach Calzada going down, it is what it is. You get Bad Bo Nix sometimes, and that's kind of the run of it. Now the big spotlight is on Texas A&M to see if they can win the SEC West, which is
in Columbia.
Oh my God. Oh Lord Jesus. They get every game at home. They ever play on the road? Who do they play on the road against? Georgia? Congratulations. Oh my God.
They play Georgia on the road?
Yeah, they did.
Okay, I can remember. Yeah, they got to play Clemson at home too, which is huge for them.
Gosh. They'll never have to play on the road, ever. What do they play on the road against? Missouri? God. A&M?
Yeah,
at least we got one. So, whatever. I digress. I'm supposed to be a Carolina fan. I'm already bashing them before we even get close. Anyway, A&M with a big win over Auburn yesterday. So all the eyes. Game day's going to A&M versus Ole Miss next week, which I'm sure just tickles Lane Kiffin's jimmies. I'm sure he's super excited about that. So there you go. Auburn, Texas A&M. Not much to say.
There you go.
I mean, defense.
Not much to say. Good win for the Aggies, though.
Yeah, sure. All right, Liberty at Ole Miss. We both picked Ole Miss, and we both picked A&M. I should throw that out there. We both picked Ole Miss to win the football game. They did, 27-14, a little closer than I thought it was going to be, Ryan.
Yeah, a little closer, a little more low scoring than we thought. Ole Miss came out to a big lead at half. I think it was 24-0. Liberty just really couldn't get it going offensively. Their quarterback, Malik, I think he was predicted to be a first-round draft pick at the beginning of the season. After that performance, I think he threw 2 or 3 picks. I think he drops out of that first-round discussion. I think he'll get drafted, but not first round. And then I think Matt Corral, I struggle to find him in the Heisman race after this game as well, because he threw for 1 touchdown, and he didn't have over 300 yards. But this is the game where you need to get the stats for a Heisman, and he just didn't get it. He just did not get the stats that he needed.
I think you could tell. I think there's something wrong with him. I think he's hurt. He's got something going on. They're not running the ball with him as frequently as they were. I hate those Ole Miss uniforms when they go with the dark blue. They need to always be
like the powder
blue. Yeah, the powder blue is much better. Lane, what are you doing, buddy? That's my advice to you. Well, you'll be going soon anyway to either Florida or LSU, so I don't think it matters. But, what do you think he'd go to Florida or LSU first?
Oh, man. I think Florida could be a better job. I mean, you definitely have a lot more recruits in the state of Florida, and Florida State and Miami are bad too. So, really, the first one to come out of the fire gets those recruits.
Yeah.
I think Florida would be a better job, but
Yeah, especially with Anthony
well.
Richardson.
You do have Anthony Richardson, yes.
Yeah, that would be a big pickup for Lane Kiffin. That'd be like a solid quarterback you can lean on for the next couple. But anyway,
that's what Lane does.
Yeah. So anyway, the little Lane Kiffin talk there. But yeah, I mean, Ole Miss, they won the football game. That's more than we thought. A lot of people thought Kirk Herbstreit picked them to lose the football game.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I don't feel very confident for Ole Miss going into Texas A&M, but they did win.
No, I don't either. I think Texas A&M. So
they won.
All right, there you go, Ole Miss. All right, Mississippi State at Arkansas. Arkansas won. It was a barn burner. Ryan has here. The Hogs won 31-28. So yesterday I mentioned I was bowling. So the bowling party started from 4:30 to 4:30 to 6:30. Well, it was really 4:30 to like 7:30. That's one time we left. And I was sitting there bowling, having a good time. And I said I wasn't going to watch the Arkansas game. I couldn't do it. I'd be in a bad mood the whole time. So I was like, going to enjoy my time, and have fun. So I drove downtown Charleston from where I live. It's about 40 minutes. So I left about 3:50, and I got there about 4:30. And I pulled in, parked in the parking garage. And the whole time I wasn't paying attention. Ryan and my other buddies were texting me. They were texting me. They're like, Arkansas did this, Arkansas did that. And then it was one point. Arkansas got, at the end of the first half, Arkansas got a bad passing interference call. And Ryan texts me, he's like, Arkansas just got burned by the refs, blah, 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 blah. And then Mississippi State scored a touchdown. I became filled with rage, just filled with like unbridled rage. I started sweating profusely. I stopped walking for a second and just became enraged with madness. And I was like, I cannot turn on this game. I will be miserable the whole time. So I did not watch the Arkansas game live. Ryan did. Tell me a little bit about those Arkansas Razorbacks.
Man, it was one of the craziest games of the week. Arkansas came out, they got a 13-0 lead, lost that lead. And then after that point, it was just back and forth. They were trading field goals, trading touchdowns. Mississippi State's kicker, I think he missed the first kicker missed 2 field goals. And then the second kicker came on and missed the third field goal. So they had 2 kickers, all of them missing field goals. Mississippi State does not have kickers. It was an absolutely crazy game. Mississippi State scored a touchdown to take the lead with like 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. And then Arkansas went the other side of the field and got their own touchdown. And they scored a 2-point conversion to take a 3-point lead with 20 seconds left. It was an absolutely crazy game. Mississippi State almost came back and tied it, but their field goal kicker
missed horrendously.
Awful.
Like the ball went way left.
Awful. Just awful. I would have just gone for the touchdown, honestly.
Yeah, you had a better shot at throwing a Hail Mary in there, huh?
Yeah.
Especially when Arkansas was letting up plays. I went back and watched the highlights, when I got home. First thing I did, I sat down and watched the highlights. I literally took my clothes off, but when my sleep clothes or whatever, sat down, watched the TV, and immediately watched Arkansas play Mississippi State. Clemson was on, Carolina was on. I didn't give freaking crap. I was watching them highlights. So I was sitting there watching the highlights, and I was like, man, we have no back defense. They were blowing us up, dude. They were like throwing the ball way over our heads. I was like, come on, guys. What are we doing? Come on, guys. What are we doing out here? And they were messing up, and they're letting wide open passes go right over the top of them. And I was sitting there. I was like, man, I was like, it made me feel a little better because I knew we won the football game. But I was like, we need to get that shored up. I was like, we need to get this figured out so we can
beat Bama.
Yeah. So with the 3 B's, the B's. So we got the B's.
It was one of the best. Mississippi State's a good team. They're ranked or were ranked. They're going to drop out. Arkansas will probably be ranked. I would imagine they should be ranked.
Yeah. I think they will because especially they want to keep us ranked because if somehow we beat LSU next week, then we got that big game against Alabama. They'll be like, ooh, Arkansas, let's rank them so we can make Alabama look better.
There you go.
Exactly.
But it was a really fun game. I really enjoyed it. I mean, obviously, I'm not as invested in Arkansas, but it was a very fun game to watch. It was one of the best games of the week.
Yeah, I'm happy we won. So we got bowling. Ryan, fun fact for you. I texted Mike in this. I actually don't think I texted you. Arkansas bowl eligible.
Yep.
First time in 5 years. Last time they were bowl eligible, I just turned 25 this past week. First time they were bowl, I was 20.
Wow.
Actually, I was 19 because it happened in 16. That was the last time they were actually bowl eligible. I was looking at it. So they didn't make it for 5 years. So I was actually 19 when it last happened. 19. I'm 25. We were the worst team in the SEC. I had a graphic last night. I was looking at the graphic. It was from like I don't know, like some 2000 and I think like 12 to 2021 or something, like a 10-year stretch. And it showed Arkansas wins. Arkansas, with all the wins they have this year, is still dead last in the SEC behind Vanderbilt, who has 10 more wins than us, and that's from 12 to 21.
That's insane.
We have like 37. They have like 48.
Vanderbilt's like one of the worst teams in college football.
Exactly. So we were actually one of the worst teams in college football. So you can see where I'm going through. Shout out to that coaching staff. I mean, I can sit on here and cry and complain. Man, we lost to Mississippi State before last year, 7 games in a row. They used to think of us as the Vanderbilt of the SEC West. Now we're beating Mississippi State. We can beat Ole Miss. We can beat Auburn. We can beat A&M. We're competitive. Man, this is a far cry from where we were like
2
years ago. So shout out to the Hogs. Shout out to those Arkansas Razorbacks. Shout out to Sam Pittman. Shout out to Larry the bowling ball. We have a bowling ball now. So we're going for the bees, man. The bees. The battle of the bowling, the boot, and Bama. Bama! Oh, there you go. All right. There's Arkansas. Good win for the Hogs. KJ Jefferson, miraculous composure. Also, SEC refs. You screwed us in the first half, and you were on our side in the second half. You take what you can get with you. You know, we are owed a few, and we got some yesterday. So, you know, there was some of the worst calls I've ever seen in that first half. And there were some of the greatest calls I've ever seen in that second half. So, you know, it is what it is. What are you going to do? You can't have it all.
They were equally horrible on their calls, I would say.
They were equally horrible. They didn't favor one or the other. The SEC called them at the beginning of the game. We're like, screw Arkansas in the first half and then screw Mississippi State in the second half. We can't have both of these teams feeling like we've got an edge. Last night, the refs were kind of helping LSU over Alabama. I was like, no way. I was watching that game. I was like, there's no way that Alabama's not getting some of these calls. There was like LSU player clearly targeted down that quarterback, Bryce Young. I mean, he slammed him. I was like sitting in my chair and they were like, bam. I was like, whoa. I was like, that's targeting if I ever seen it. They didn't even call it. Nick Saban was on the screen. He was screaming at him. I was like, wow, is this really something that's happening right now? Anyway, we'll get to LSU.
They moved on to Georgia, I guess.
Yeah, they're like, sorry, Alabama, you stink now. And first of all, we'll get there. Coastal Carolina at Georgia Southern. Coastal won. Ryan, that's not 19. Was that how many points is that? 20 points? Right there, 28. I guess 28 to 8.
28 to 8, yep.
Yeah, 20 points. So Ryan was the only one who hit his mortal lock last week. Coastal Carolina winning by 19 and a half. I did not. I picked Wake Forest plus 2.5. And they lost by 3. Oh my God. So I didn't even get the half. So I was sad. Wake Forest stinks. But shout out to Ryan for getting his I did see that Grayson McCall thing though on the ESPN ticker last night.
He didn't play. He didn't play at the game. So the backup quarterback, I don't even know his name, played for Coastal Carolina in this past week. And they're saying that Grayson McCall is out indefinitely.
Also for the season.
Most likely. He might come back at the very end, but I mean, this really affects Coastal. I mean, Grayson McCall has been amazing. And one of the top offenses in the country. This really could affect their Sun Belt title chances right now.
I think they'll still make the championship game, but if they win it, that would be a different story. Especially,
I think you're going most likely, if you make it, you're most likely going to play Appalachian State or Louisiana. Those are tough teams.
Yeah, you already lost that state. You got to hold that the home field advantage, though. I don't think they have like a field they play in. So
I'm not sure.
they have home field. Who has the highest record has home field. So Coastal needs to hold on to that home field. Big difference. So you go to App State, it's over. So there you go.
Oh,
All
actually,
right.
so I'm looking at the standings right now. So Coastal needs Appalachian State to lose in order to make the championship game.
To make the championship game?
To make the championship game.
Not even be home field? They only lost one game, though.
Yeah, but if they have divisions, and so Louisiana Lafayette is in their own division. They're undefeated in conference. And then Appalachian State is with Coastal, and Appalachian State has the tiebreaker win over Coastal right now.
Wow. That's shocking.
Coastal might not make it.
That's wow. Wow. All right. Well, wow. All right. LSU at Alabama. This line's wow. I just can't believe that. Coastal news. That's shocking. We both picked Alabama. They barely won 20-14. Alabama's a frauds. They're frauds. Bring on Bama. The Arkansas Razorbacks want Bama. We want. I was playing. Ryan, what do you think?
I think LSU threw everything at Alabama, and that helped. However, everyone always throws everything at Alabama. So it's not really, you can't really make any heads or tails with that. Alabama always just wins, even when everyone throws everything at Alabama. So I think that's a stupid argument. However, I'm a little nervous about Alabama. I'm not sure if they're as good as people make them out to be. Everyone's looking at this win and being, oh yeah, Alabama, good win. That's stupid. It's not a great win. I mean, it's a win, good, but it's not a great win.
Yeah, LSU's bad. And now that Florida went and lost to South Carolina, it makes that LSU beating South Carolina not look as good. Just a fact.
Yeah.
So
and so it makes you worry. It makes you think, okay, maybe Auburn and Arkansas have a shot. I think Auburn is the better team to most likely upset it because it isn't Jordan Hare. And if you get good Bo Nix, I think Auburn has a real shot to beat Bama.
Yeah, I think they do as well. I don't actually know if Arkansas has a shot against Alabama. I'll fool myself. I believed Arkansas had a shot against Georgia, so yeah,
if it was in Fayetteville, I would give Arkansas a shot. But since it's in Tuscaloosa, I don't see it.
Yeah, it's hard to win in Tuscaloosa. Now, those fans aren't that crazy as they are in other places. But still, with that being said, you never know. I mean, Alabama fans are so overrated. They're not good fans. They're not. They don't cheer that loud. They could be one of the best fan bases in the country, but they're so spoiled and uber rich, and they just think they're so cool. But they're just not that.
Yeah, they're not all that.
Exactly. You think you're something, but you're not. All right, Alabama barely escapes a bad LSU team. If they had a quarterback, they would have won that game, LSU. But their quarterback stinks. Their offense is
or
bad.
If Coach O had kicked the field goal.
Oh my God, yeah, that was a big dummy mistake too. I kind of forgot about that. He had an opportunity to kick the field goal to go make it 20 to. He would at least took it in overtime. That would have been something you could have done.
Yeah, because they were on
because it was 20 to 14.
At the very end.
Yeah, well, it was 20 to 14, and they decided to go for it on fourth and 7 at the goal line.
Yeah,
and they didn't get it. But if they would have kicked the field goal, that would have made it 20 to 17. And then when they got back in that position again, they could at least try to make it 20-20, and then you could have went in overtime and see what happens. But you don't know who would have won, but still, you would have had a shot more than you did then. Or maybe Coach O was an Alabama plant. He was trying to win for Alabama,
He's gonna be an Alabama coach next season.
Anyway, I bet he will be too. He will be like a defensive line coach or something.
For like sure.
That. Yeah, there you go. All right. Tennessee at Kentucky. Tennessee wins the shootout 45-42.
Yeah. Very back and forth game.
Not a bad football team.
Not bad. You gotta play Georgia next. I'm really curious to watch this game.
Not
because I think Tennessee can win, but I think this is the best offense that Georgia.
Exactly. I was going to say that as well. This is definitely going to be the best offense that we see. What time is that game?
I think it's like 3:30.
It deserves to be 3:30. That deserves to be prime time SEC, because this will be the first offense Georgia faces that's been worth a crap. Now, their defense, Tennessee's defense is terrible. I mean, it was okay enough to win the football game yesterday, but Tennessee's offense will be by and far the greatest offense Georgia have played all year long. So, we'll see what happens. I'm excited to watch. That'll be a good football game. What else do we got? Tennessee and Kentucky, they beat them. Brendan Hooker had a good game, I believe. And, I actually didn't watch much of this game. I watched snippets here and there. It just was a lot of offense, is what I got the gist of it.
It was a lot of offense, just back and forth. It was a shootout. That's really all you need to know. It was a shootout. If you love shootouts, watch the highlights.
Yeah, Kentucky, I mean, they're still a good football team. This doesn't take any away from their season. They're competitive with Tennessee. I would tell Kentucky fans, I know it's been, this sucks, but at the end of the day, you're competitive and you beat Tennessee the past couple of years. There was a time that you weren't doing anything like that. You sucked. You've been awful for years. The fact that what's his name? Mark Stoops, has even made you sort of competitive is nothing short of a miracle, because you were on the spear with Vanderbilt and Kansas and teams like that. So
I also think you have to take into account what I'm starting to call the Georgia curse. Every team that plays Georgia
loses the week after.
Not even the week after, but they just immediately cave in. I mean, if you look at Clemson, Clemson got
Arkansas didn't cave in. We lost 3 in a row, but they were good teams. They were good teams. We got good Bo Nix.
Kentucky, Auburn.
Now, Kentucky, I'll give you Kentucky. But Auburn, I don't know about Auburn. Auburn lost to Georgia and then whooped our ass. So I don't think Auburn actually fits that. You could say Arkansas because we did lose 2 after that, but I think Arkansas and Auburn. Arkansas was competitive in those 2 games versus Ole Miss and Auburn. Now, Auburn, you could say, wasn't really a factual thing because they went and beat Arkansas. Now, Florida, Kentucky, even South Carolina in a way, you could argue.
Big time Clemson. That Clemson game shattered DJ. Like, let's be honest, that shattered them.
Exactly. So, I mean, if you look at it like that, if you look at it from that perspective, I mean, you got a point. Now, I don't think, like I said, it doesn't hold up with Arkansas and Auburn, but I guess not every team. How's UAB doing?
I think they're doing okay.
Maybe they survived it on the
but I think they kind of expected to get smacked around.
Whereas
you look at Clemson, Arkansas, Florida, Kentucky, they expected to potentially get a win.
Because it's like you build yourself up. You're like, oh man, Georgia. And then they just go and crush your soul. Yeah. I mean, they destroyed Auburn on the road. I mean, they won't get a lot of credit for that because it was too early. That game, that old rivalry needs to be in the later half, like in November. But it was so early, and Georgia just went in there, smacked them. You know what I mean? So, like, I think that game, out of all the games that Georgia has won and played against, I think that game, if you had to circle one, that Auburn game is one you can look at and be, man, Georgia's a good football team, because Auburn is not a bad football team.
I'd honestly take the Clemson game just because I don't think Clemson's trajectory was what it is today. I think the only reason it is what it is today is because of what Georgia did to them. I think if Clemson started with a cupcake game and built into confidence, they would have been way better than they are right now.
I think Georgia, and Georgia, see, the thing about that Georgia-Clemson game, that's when Clemson was at full strength. They were fully healthy, able to do what they needed to do. I mean, they were able to stop JT Daniels in that offense pretty heartily.
Yeah, they only got 3 points.
I don't think Georgia's on here, so we can talk about them real fast. Kind of do like a sideway here. Georgia crushed Missouri yesterday. Missouri didn't start Connor Bazelak. They started 2 freshmen. Jalen Drinkowitz is an idiot. He'll be gone soon too. He might survive one more season, but he's terrible. Missouri is just a crappy program now. Yeah. So, I don't know if they should have fired Barry Odom. At least they were somewhat competitive with him. But, when you look at it, Georgia's got a good football team. I don't understand why Kirby Smart isn't playing
JT Daniels.
I don't understand that. Stetson Bennett is not it. He's okay, but every team you're going to play in Missouri, he can beat Missouri. He can beat Arkansas. He can beat Alabama. I mean, no, he can't beat Alabama, but he can beat South Carolina.
Right.
He can beat, he can beat those. He can beat Kentucky, Tennessee, probably. But you're not going to have him beating Alabama, Ohio State. I don't even know who's going to be in there in the end. They're all bad. I think I was looking at it when I was watching the games yesterday. Everybody was so mad because they're like, Cincinnati, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Oregon, Michigan State, Alabama. There ain't no competition. It don't matter who's 2. It don't matter who's 3. It don't matter who's 4. It's irrelevant. It's get Georgia the damn trophy and must move on. Georgia is far and away so much better than everybody else. They're all bad. Everybody's bad. They're all bad. Ohio State looked bad against Nebraska, who stinks. Alabama looked bad against LSU, stinks. They were at home. I mean, they're all bad. Oregon looked bad last night. I don't even know if they won the football game. I don't even know if Oregon won. They did. They barely won if they did. They're all terrible.
Utah next.
They lost to Purdue. They're all bad. They're all bad football teams. I don't know if they can compete with Georgia. Cincinnati would get wiped if they played Georgia. They would get blown out of the stadium. That guy, Luke Fickell, would have to go back somewhere lower than Cincinnati. He would have to be so embarrassed. It doesn't even matter. It's irrelevant. We can sit here next Friday. They'll come out with a new college football playoff ranking, and they'll say Alabama's number 2 and Cincinnati number 3 and Oklahoma number 4. And it won't matter. It won't matter. It's irrelevant. It don't matter. It's just irrelevant. They shouldn't. Somebody tweeted yesterday, said that they should go back to the 1960 style of doing things and just give Georgia the trophy. Just scoot it along their way and see what happens.
Let them have it.
I mean, they're all bad. Everybody's bad now.
Yeah.
Nobody's good. Nobody's good. I mean, I don't think anybody's bad per se, but Georgia's a super team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Got me hyped up right there. Georgia, good football team. They crush her.
Gotcha.
All right, here we go. The game you've all been waiting for. This is the highlight of our whole episode. Are you ready, Ryan?
Yes.
Florida at South Carolina. The South Carolina crushed Florida last night, 40-17. I hate Florida, man. They stink. They can't win for nothing. They should fire Dan Mullen. I feel bad for Dan Mullen a little bit. Just a little bit, not too much. But I just don't understand how he couldn't win that football game yesterday. Your team is far and away better than South Carolina. South Carolina stinks. This is the worst South Carolina team I've seen in years. And the fact that they just went out there, they all season, they couldn't run the football. They ain't been able to pass the football. They ain't been able to defend nobody. They ain't been able to block. And you're telling me when the Florida Gators roll into town, they are all of a sudden able to pass the football. They're able to block. They're able to run the football. They're able to have soul-crushing defense. Out of nowhere, the offensive line looked like the Alabama Crimson Tide's offensive line last night. It's crazy. Florida stinks. They're done. They gave up.
Yeah, I think
he's lost the locker room.
I think Florida put all their eggs into beating Georgia. I think that was the game to save their season. Hey, we beat Georgia. It's a good season. We can do things. We could win the rest of the games after that. Have a 9-win or whatever season. And then Georgia does what Georgia does and pummels them. And I think this is a classic case of the Georgia curse. You got crumbled by Georgia, and now you're just not there. You just checked out. You're done. You're just not. You don't care anymore. Season's over.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at it, South Carolina scored more points than Georgia on Florida after 1 week. That doesn't make any sense. I was watching the game. South Carolina defensive line played very well. I think it's one of the reasons that they came out and won this game. They played very well. They dominated that Georgia O-line.
Florida.
The South Carolina, they
did not dominate Georgia O-line. Let me tell you.
But then you look, the South Carolina secondary was very suspect. They had some big throws down the field from Emory Jones. I think there would have been more if Anthony Richardson was playing for Florida instead, but they keep going to Emory Jones. And then the Florida defense just caved. I mean, what was his name? Jared Brown for South Carolina is not a good quarterback. I mean, Zeb Nolan came out of retirement so that this guy did not play. He was that bad. Kevin Harris looked like he got his mojo back. He looked like last year Kevin Harris, which is good for South Carolina. They need that, especially heading into the games they're about to play. But I think Florida just gave up. South Carolina played a very good game, but at the same time, I don't think I can give all credit to South Carolina. I'll give them a good amount of credit because they did what they needed to do.
Credit.
But I also think I got to give credit to Georgia.
You got to give them
Florida.
some credit. They got at Missouri next week. Ooh, better watch out. Really got a real barn burner right there. Real barn burner.
Battle of Columbia.
What are we going to be on? Arkansas plays LSU next week. The Battle of Columbia. Who wants to live in the shittiest city in South Carolina or Missouri? Please let us know. Thanks. I was just kidding. I'm a big South Carolina fan. Go Cats, baby. Woo! I'm a big South Carolina fan, if you can't tell.
Yes, you are. So
Go
big.
Cox, baby. I'll post a video to our TNR Sports Instagram later today to prove how much of a South Carolina fan I am. Ryan, you'll love this video. I don't know if I ever shown it to you before. It's very
cool. I love it. Okay.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Clemson at Louisville. That's into South Carolina. I can't take it anymore. I might puke if I keep talking. All right, Clemson at Louisville. Clemson won the football game. Big win for the Tigers. Goal line stand was epic. Me and Ryan were just I called him last night and then I forgot my phone's broken, can't call anybody. I was hopping and happy and hooping and hollering, and I was awesome. It was a good win for the Tigers. Ryan, fun fact for you. I think Clemson has a thing with just beating Louisville on the goal line. They love it.
I know, right?
I think it's like a sexual thing for them. They love it because they beat them when Bobby Petrino was the head coach. Back when Vic Beasley knocked down the pass, where he knocked down that pass in the goal line on 4th down. It was like right in Clemson's freaking goal line, just like it was last night. And then they had Lamar Jackson step out of bounds that one year. That was another big stop on the goal line. And last night, they had Cunningham tackled on that. That was a terrible play call, by the way, that passing play. I don't know what they were thinking. They were like, oh, let's pass the ball. You're on 4th down, might as well try to run it or something. But they ran, and then they literally walked them the whole way. They didn't stand a chance. So Clemson held last night. Defense is looking good. Did a little beat up, I think, but I feel good about Clemson, man. They're playing better. I have no doubt that Dabo Swinney at the end of the year is going to come out and say, this was one of my favorite Clemson seasons ever. Because the amount of adversity these fellas had to go over, the mountains they had to climb, they had to keep trusting.
He kind of said it.
Yeah, I know.
He said last week was his favorite, like the top 5 favorite win of all time of his, or something like that.
Yeah, he probably ranked this number 6.
All right, Dabo.
He just keeps updating the list.
Yeah,
I guess you can always have a new favorite game if you think about it.
I guess so, but defense looked a little suspect when Cunningham was on the field. I think they just struggle.
Football player.
He's a very good. He's like discount Lamar Jackson. That's that's kind of what he is.
Somebody tweeted during the game I saw. She's like, this Cunningham guy is what we were told Lamar Jackson was going to be, or something like that. It was kind of funny. Anyway, go ahead.
I think Clemson struggled a little bit with the dual threat quarterback. Just in the fact that Cunningham can throw the ball. Like when you look at the previous game against Florida State, Travis can't throw the ball, for Florida State. He can just run, and Clemson could shut him down. Cunningham, he can throw and run.
Right.
So I think that really hurt Clemson. It really helped Clemson when he left the game and the backup came in. Louisville couldn't do anything. It was just that really helped Clemson get back into the game. But when it mattered, they got the stop. Offensively, this was probably Clemson's best game offensively. It was definitely DJ's best game. I think Bo Collins needs to play slot receiver for the rest of the season. I don't want to see Justin Ross there anymore. He needs to be on the edge because Justin Ross was playing well on the edge, and Bo Collins blew up at slot. He had over 100 yards passing, huge touchdown. DJ looked amazing. DJ, I think he missed a couple passes, but no picks. He had a rushing touchdown, 2 passing touchdowns, over 200 yards. This is the DJ that we're start. He's confident. He's finally getting over Georgia, I think, and he's finally confident. But huge win for the Tigers. And me and Trennon were talking about it before we start recording. Clemson still has a chance at the ACC championship game. Some things have got to happen.
Yeah, read the path, Ryan. Read the path.
All right. So there's actually two paths.
Ooh, that's better than one.
So either way, Clemson has to beat Wake Forest at home. That just has to happen. So the first path is Clemson has to beat Wake Forest. Wake Forest then has to beat North Carolina State in Wake Forest. And then Boston College has to beat Wake Forest. If all that happens, then Clemson goes to the ACC.
Wait, say that again.
Clemson has to beat Wake Forest.
Okay.
Wake Forest has to beat NC State.
Okay.
And then Boston College has to beat Wake Forest.
Oh, my God.
It lines up. Clemson's at home.
That's going to happen.
Clemson's at home against Wake Forest. Wake Forest is at home against NC State. And Boston College is at home against Wake Forest. And they got their quarterback back.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
And then, the other path. This one's probably more likely, actually.
Really? That doesn't seem too unlikely right there.
Clemson has to beat Wake Forest. Okay. NC State has to go to Wake Forest and win. And then either UNC or Syracuse has to beat NC State. Syracuse got that good running back. I think UNC is a better option, but...
Oh, I don't know. It's going to be tough.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I don't know. Clemson's got to win. That's number one. Clemson's got to win.
We just got to win as Wake Forest and NC State play each other this week.
I think this upcoming week. Yep.
So we just got to find out what's going to happen.
Exactly.
We will update you next Monday on the path that Clemson's going to have to take.
We'll keep the path.
Who does Clemson plays UConn next week, don't you?
Okay, I got UConn.
Woo. That poor team.
We'll see how that goes.
All right, there you go. Clemson and Louisville. All right, Michigan State at Purdue. Boilermakers upset another top 2. Iowa was ranked number 2, I think, last time, and then this team, Michigan State, was ranked number 3. Purdue can't win
next week.
Ohio State. Is it at home or at Ohio State?
At Ohio State.
Oh, if it was at home, I'd be like, oh, Purdue.
Then they beat Iowa in Iowa.
Oh, yeah, they did. Wow. Oh, man, Ohio State looked terrible 2 weeks in a row. Oh, man. You never know. You never know what might happen. Oh, my goodness. This is exciting.
Exciting. Fun things are happening.
Fun things are happening, y'all. Shout out to fun things. Michigan State at Purdue. Michigan State. I was watching the highlights of this game right before we started. I didn't get to watch this game. My God, they have no pass defense. None. The fact that Michigan can take advantage of how god-awful their pass defense is shocking. It's terrible. It's bad. Like, Purdue was just launching rockets over their head the whole game. I was like, what are they doing? They have no pass defense. None. I mean, it wasn't even a competitive game. Purdue was always up by like 10 or 11 the whole game.
Yeah. Purdue just came in and walloped them. And they're all black uniforms. It's amazing.
It was a big letdown spot for Michigan State.
It was a big letdown. Yeah. I think now knowing that what we know about Michigan State's secondary, I think that Ohio State's going to wreck them because Ohio State's very pass happy. But I'm still curious about the Michigan Ohio State game. I think that will still be interesting. How
did Michigan do last night?
They won. It was like 29-7 against Indiana.
So it wasn't close. Okay, good.
Their offense just isn't that good. But their defense is good.
Yeah, Michigan's got a good football team. I mean, the defense is strong. I mean, Ohio State needs to be on upset alert that weekend. I don't know if Michigan will do it or not. It'll be a big win for Michigan because if at this point, you kind of want Michigan State to lose to Ohio State if you're Michigan.
Yeah.
Because then if you beat Ohio State, you get to go to the thing.
Yep. And probably the playoff too.
Exactly.
You might have to play Purdue.
Yeah. I mean, no, Purdue's in the East, right?
Yeah.
Or is they in the West?
Game?
No, are they in the West?
I'm pretty sure they're in whatever.
They're in the Big Ten, but I was like, are they in the Big Ten East or in the Big Ten West?
They're in whatever.
Wisconsin is in.
Yeah, that one.
I'll look
I
at the
don't know.
standings right
I
now.
guess the West.
Purdue is third still in the rankings. My God, they're 6-3 though. That's not too bad. Let me look at Purdue and see what they have to play. So they still have to play Ohio State, Northwestern, and Indiana. So you never know. Maybe they could. They would need Wisconsin to lose some, or at least once. But they can make it.
Wisconsin's still got some tough games coming. So
let me see what Wisconsin still has on the schedule. They get to play Northwestern. No, they do not, Ryan. They do not have really.
Well, Wisconsin
they got to play
great.
Northwestern, Nebraska, which Nebraska looks prime there. I don't know if you're looking for an upset alert, but Nebraska not being able to win a game all season and then beating the Wisconsin randomly. It's like very appropriate.
Wisconsin, did you see the Wisconsin score?
Wisconsin blew them out.
It was like 52-7.
Well, it was Rutgers. Ohio State.
Still, I think that further proves that Ohio State is fraudulent because that was one of the ones like, oh, everyone's like, oh yeah,
it was 52-3. Wisconsin definitely has a better defense by far. It's not even competitively close. All right, what's next? Ohio State. Speaking of Nebraska, fun fact about Nebraska, Ryan. I saw this yesterday in a tweet. Nebraska has outscored Big Ten opponents this year 190-165, almost a 30-point difference. Isn't that crazy? They're 1-6. 1-6. They are awful. They're terrible. How is that even possible?
I don't think they're awful. I just think that
they have no clue how to win a football game.
They can't win a game. That's the problem. They have a good because look, Nebraska had close games against Oklahoma, Michigan, went to overtime against Michigan State, and had a close game against Ohio State.
They had a close game against Illinois too. I mean, every game they played, I'm pretty sure they had this close. You know what I mean?
I think that Nebraska has a very good defense. But I think their offense is they're not clutch. They can't figure it out in the fourth quarter when they need to. I think that's the problem. They're just not clutch.
Yeah, Minnesota, they almost beat Minnesota 30-23, but they lost.
And Purdue?
Illinois was 30-22. Purdue was 28-23. Ohio State was 26-17. They were winning a touchdown because it was 20. Wasn't it 20? What was that? It was 23 right. There was 23 to it was 23-17 for majority of that game, and Ohio State kicked a field goal and made it 26, kept it out of reach.
Yeah.
It would have been in reach, but Nebraska's kicker stinks.
Awful. He missed two kicks.
Yeah, 25-yard kick, like that's bad. You got to make that, man.
And the same against Oklahoma. I think he missed 3 kicks against Oklahoma.
Those are points on the board. You got to get going. And at some point, Scott Frost needs to be like, we need to start going for these things, man, because their kicker sucks. All right. There you go. Ohio State, Nebraska. Ohio State frauds, man. They're good, man. They stink.
I think at the end of the season, we're going to see Ohio State, Oregon, and maybe Bama have a second loss.
I think so. It wouldn't.
Oregon still got to play Utah and Oregon State.
And Wisconsin has looked better. You don't know. I mean, they might still blow. They might still suck, but you never know.
Ohio State's got a rough schedule.
Wisconsin might win the whole thing. It'll come down to Minnesota versus Wisconsin.
That'd be crazy.
Not the whole thing, but the Big Ten.
Yeah, the Big Ten. Yeah.
All right, North Carolina. God, Wake Forest. Wake Forest, what are you doing? I was so mad that Wake Forest lost this non-conference game. Ryan texted me that on Friday night. I was like, you're crazy. That's not true. And then I looked it up. I was like, it's true. So Wake Forest and UNC scheduled this as a non-conference game. A non-conference game. Not a conference game, but a non-conference game.
Even though they're in the same conference. It makes no sense. But
Exactly. I was shocked, appalled, devastated that Wake Forest lost. I had Wake Forest plus 2.5. They lose by 3. I was so upset. I was just so sad. Wake Forest, my God. There, Sam Hartman.
Yep.
My God.
Sam Hartman is a fantastic quarterback. I think he should be in New York for the Heisman. I think
he should be too. He's very good.
I'm not sure if he should win it or not, but I think he should be there.
Wake Forest has
Crazy
scored
game.
more than 35 points in every game this season. That's insane.
Crazy game. I'm just crazy. I mean, Sam.
Wake Forest has no defense. Neither does North Carolina. North Carolina has a slightly better defense, but it's not much better because it's still very bad.
I'm really curious to see how this Wake Forest Clemson game will carry out, because Clemson has a great defense. And
they're like polar opposites, dude. They're like polar opposites. Clemson has a great defense.
The Clemson offense is gaining stride. The Clemson offense is gaining stride.
They might need it.
It's so bad.
And the Clemson's defense is weak, kind of battered up. I still see Wake Forest scoring about 31, 35 points. That wouldn't shock me. And then Clemson just had to score 40. I don't know if that's possible.
It's going to be a tight game. It's going to be
Wake Forest's defense is so bad. It is bad, y'all. Y'all know, I mean, bad. I don't even know if they have fourth caliber players out there. Like, their defense is awful. Sam, what's the other Sam on the other side?
Howell.
Sam Howell had like 25 seconds to throw every play. It was crazy. The guy, then they didn't stand a freaking chance, dude. They were terrible. They were awful. They were bad. UNC, man, good credit to them. At the end of the day, if Wake Forest was going to lose, I'd rather this just be a conference game so Clemson could gain some ground. Stupid.
I know.
I would rather have Wake Forest win. God, sad. There was just a double loss for Wake Forest yesterday. Well, it was a win for Wake Forest, but all right, there's Wake at UNC.
Yeah. Crazy game that UNC won. Crazy game.
All right, our final game of the evening. Baylor at TCU. TCU beat Baylor 38-28. Wow. Big 10, man. Big 12. I mean, weird conference full of weird stuff.
So TCU fires their head coach, Gary Patterson, best coach TCU has ever had. And then this new guy comes in, Jerry Kill, with Chandler Morris. Morris should sound familiar to you. You know why it sounds familiar?
No, I know why. Chad Morris's son.
Chad Morris's son, former Arkansas commit who decommitted, then went to the University of Oklahoma.
Transferred.
Well, he never went to Arkansas. He just went to
transferred from Oklahoma to TCU.
And he transferred from Oklahoma to TCU because he couldn't get past Spencer Rattler. And
he must really suck.
Destroyed Baylor. Like, Baylor is supposed to have a decent defense.
Has Chandler Morris been starting the whole year?
This is his first start.
Why? They just decided
they had a veteran starter in Max Dugan. He's been there for several years or whatever. I don't know if he got hurt or what. I don't know why this happened, but Chandler Morris went off for 460 yards, like 3 touchdowns. I think like 80 yards on the ground too. Like, insane numbers.
Gross.
Huge win for TCU. Big upset for Baylor. Baylor is done in the Big 12 race.
Oh man, Baylor. They still have a big game. Fox's sporting thing, whatever, their little pregame show is going to
Baylor, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It'll be a big game.
I mean, if I was you, I'd be sweating still a little bit, because Iowa State looked very good yesterday. Oklahoma State blew out West Virginia. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think Oklahoma's still a good football team, and they're going to be competitive.
The reason I'm not sweating right now is because Caleb Williams has that offense running very smoothly right now.
And the bye week is going to help a lot, because that's
the bye week
to go
helps.
9 games and then not have a bye week.
And then what I saw against Texas Tech is that we changed things up on our defense. The cornerbacks that we were playing in our secondary all season just have not been getting the job done. Our pass defense has been our struggle. We made changes, put different personnel in there, and it worked. So I'm confident to see that play out against Baylor, Iowa State, and Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I liked the game. I thought TCU, they did that typical, like, our coach just got fired, let's go out and win a big one for him. One last, like, hoorah. And they did that. So good for them. Good for Chandler Morris. Good for TCU. Horned Frogs. Baylor, big game next week. I'm gonna have a heck of a show next, and the next preview show is gonna be wild. Big weekend for everybody. LSU, Arkansas, South Carolina, Missouri, Clemson, UConn. Whoa. Whoa. That's crazy game.
Been following UConn all year.
Yeah. Ryan called me up in the middle of like last week sometime. He was like, hey, you want to go watch Clemson versus Louisville? I was like, you kidding me? Louisville, Kentucky? I got 2 free tickets. He was like, I got 2 free tickets. I was like, I am not going to Louisville, Kentucky. I'm not driving to Louisville, Kentucky. I was like, that's so stupid. Why would I do that? It was like, if it was at Clemson, I probably would have won.
Yeah.
But Louisville, Kentucky? Heck no, I ain't driving all the way to freaking Kentucky. Like a 12-hour drive.
Probably, yeah.
If I could fly, maybe. You got 2 free plane tickets?
Nah. Game's over anyway. So
all right. So Ryan had a good segment in here. I thought we should add. That was smart. Predicting your top 4. Ryan, you want to go with yours first?
Yeah. Obviously, Michigan State lost. So because of that, Georgia's number 1. I don't think Bama deserves to be number 2, but they will be number 2. And then
it's the eye test. The eye test that they're talking about. We just know Bama's one of the best teams in country, even though they only beat LSU, a terrible football team, 20-14. Whatever.
That's what they're literally talking about. I was watching like the late college football show. That's what they're talking about. Like, this is why Bama's number 2, because the eye test, because of what they did to LSU. And I'm like,
oh, that's what. Oh, I hate the media. I hate the media because they'll be like, oh, LSU, what a great win. But LSU stinks. They're a bad football team. They're bad.
So yeah, Georgia, Bama. I think Ohio State and Oregon will be 3 and 4. I don't think either of them deserve to be 3 and 4, but I think they will be there.
All right. So I'm gonna go with the Georgia Bulldogs being number 1. I'm going with the Alabama Crimson Tide to be number 2. This is what we think. This is not what we want. If I want what I want, I would have Georgia, Cincinnati, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. But I don't have I don't get what I want. So I would go Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, and Ohio State. Opposite, just flip.
Okay.
I just think
Oregon, Ohio State, neither of them had really good wins. It was just close. Even Alabama, they didn't even have that great a win. I mean, the media will tell you it's great, and the media will say Ohio State and Oregon's wins were great, but they're not. It is what it is.
All right.
All 3 of those teams are going to lose. So.
All right. Well, a good win. Good podcast. I'm very happy with the episode. A lot of breakdown. You might see something crazy tonight. I might drop the pod tonight on Sunday.
Wow.
Like the big pod, and then have the little small pods come out tomorrow. Then you can be like, get your college football feel for all you college football fanatics out there. We try to get you so this podcast, we're getting you the news, we're getting you the stats and the facts with a little comedy sprinkled in from me.
A little bit, yeah.
So thank you to everybody who watching, subscribing. Thank you for watching the TNR Sports Show. We're going to come up with a little name rebrand. I've kind of been mulling some things over in my mind. It's not going to be much of nothing, but it's going to be something. So keep a lookout for that. Keep a lookout for the show. Thank you for watching, subscribing. We will be back sometime this week. So keep a lookout for maybe a Wednesday thing. Wednesday. How about that, Ryan? All right. Thank you for watching, subscribing. I appreciate it. Have a good day. Goodbye. Thank you for watching the TNR Sports Show. That's what the title card at the end.
I know.
I don't even know what it says, but that's what it's going to say at the end.